Hi again, my name is Emil. I'm a founder and the CEO of Tomorrow Bio. Today, I want to get a quick overview about how cryopreservation might impact the long-term future and the environment. Now, of course, environmental concerns are of very high importance in times of, upcoming climate change and so on and so on. Cryopreservation is, of course, something that sounds like it might use a lot of energy, might be very energy hungry, and then you need to, maintain that for hundreds of years, and your CO2 balance might be horrible. But in fact, there's a good amount of reasons why this is not really the case. There are two main arguments. One would be how much, CO2, negative CO2 effects, how much energy and so on cryopreservation actually uses. Then on the other hand, how do people who are into cryopreservation think about the environment, think about climate change, and what might they do if they sign up and actually, want to be cryopreserved, and then of course not want to be just cryopreserved, but want to be around in the future again, how they might react and how they might change their, outlook on what they need to do right now for potential, climate change problems and how to mitigate them. Now, let's tackle the first question first. How much energy is actually being used with cryopreservation? How does the whole procedure work from an environmental standpoint? Now, first, it's very important to state that cryopreservation itself does not use any energy at all. So there's no electricity, which of course a lot of people who want to be cryopreserved are, quite interested in, because if the electricity for whatever reason is being shut off, or if there's a problem in the grid, or if the electricity goes away for a while, then nothing happens to the cooling. No negative effect on the people who are in cryopreservation. The reason for that is that cryopreservation, it's not like a fridge, it's not like a freezer, it's not like an energy dependent thing. Basically just a large passive capsule that is very, very well insulated with hard vacuum, that is filled with liquid nitrogen, a fluid that naturally is at negative 196 degrees Celsius. Now it boils off, again, totally independent of energy, it just boils off and you refill it. Liquid nitrogen is actually generated with electricity, but it's usually done as a byproduct, as with other industry, and it is always done at locations where energy is very, very affordable, very, very cheap. Now, in the future, due to the fact that solar panels and so on, new technology is progressing significantly faster in regards to how the cost comes down than other older technology, coal and oil and gas. The likelihood that liquid nitrogen will in the future be generated with very, very environmentally friendly energy, for example, solar energy, is rather high. And of course, this is not even accounting for the fact that at some point we might have fusion reactors, which of course would make energy significantly more abundant and significantly greener. So for the whole cryopreservation procedure, the only thing that you need to refill liquid nitrogen, currently already being generated either as a byproduct or where energy is very, very affordable. And once that's at all possible, we're going to be probably one of the first, if not the first organization who then switches over to that type of liquid nitrogen, would be to even generate it from renewable sources, or at some point in the maybe hopefully not that far future, also from fusion reaction energy. This is one part. Otherwise, there's no environmentally unfriendly substances or high energy or anything like that is necessary for the procedure of cryopreservation. The second main point would be, think of a person who actually would like to be cryopreserved. Even though, of course, climate change and environmental concerns for the long-term future have become a pretty big topic for a lot of people, and a lot of people are interested in it, probably not everybody acts like that on their day-to-day. For the people who think that they might be around in 100 years in the future, cryopreserved now, and of course their hope would be that, let's say 50, 100, 200, but sometime in the future, they would hope to be around. As always, it's not a guarantee, but people, of course, do it because they look forward to that fact. Now, I would argue that these people are significantly more personally incentivized, not only from altruistic standpoints, but from a personal, in quotation marks, egoistic standpoint, that the future, the world, when they would come back, is a positive future. Of course, you don't want to wake up in a, dystopian future where there's no forests anymore, there's no nice nature anymore. You want to come back in the future that is from A to Z positive, including all nature without, any climate change effects and so on and so on. So I would argue that apart from the fact that there is actually no electricity or no super negative climate change effects to the practice of cryopreservation, the people who want to be cryopreserved, they by and large have a personal intrinsic motivation to advocate and make sure that the future is a positive future, which of course includes mitigating potential problems from climate change and making sure that, our current lifestyle and so on does not negatively impact the future too much. If you want to discuss this topic in more detail, we have written a large article about how that actually might work and why people who are interested in cryopreservation might be incentivized to today act in a positive way towards future societies and nature and climate change and so on. And as always, we're more than happy to discuss all these topics with you in person as well. Just reach out, go to tomorrow.bio and find one of the links to book a consultation and discussion with us. Talk to you soon.